someone in this region wants a war between Pakistan and Afghanistan. Someone in this region wants a regime change operation inside Afghanistan. These are the criminal gangs. And they are being used by the intelligence network across the region. Indian intelligence agencies are also active, but that is not the only actor in this region. So again, there is a bigger picture, and bigger picture is, and that is going to be unfolded in days to come, that if there is a bigger operation by Pakistan inside Afghanistan, and if there is any effort for a regime change operation, and I think that will be the real reason behind the surge of terrorism in Pakistan.
So joining us live from Islamabad is the journalist Javed Rana. Javed, thank you so much for sparing your time and joining us here on A News. Well, what is going on? We have seen that these suicide attacks, and Javed, they were saying that Pakistan is saying that India is responsible. India is saying that Pakistan is responsible. So can you explain to us what has happened so far? What is about this blast, and who is responsible really?
This is the most difficult question, because who's responsible? Because India, I mean, we have not heard a formal allegation, but Indian media is blaming Pakistan for the attack inside Delhi. And according to initial reports, it was a kind of a gas attack, cylinder attack. And then later on, the police thought it appropriate, and they turned it into a kind of a terrorist attack investigation. In Pakistan, the situation is a little complicated. After this terrorist attack, beyond any doubt, it was a terrorist attack because there was a suicide bomber. And then Pakistan, on the indications are, going by the statements that I have observed, that they are blaming the Afghan government for sheltering the militant organizations, the terrorist groups. But at the same time, they are also trying to establish a network of Afghan government and that of the Indian government in a way that they are behind this terrorist attack. Now, what is going on in Pakistan? That is, let me explain in a broader context. These attacks, more particularly the attack in Islamabad, and also a kind of a gun battle in the bordering region where hundreds of students were there in a school, in a military school, and there was a terrorist attack, gun battle by the terrorists. This looks like that there appears to be some kind of effort to derail the peace process, a very fragile peace process, and which was in shape of in the negotiations between Pakistan and Afghanistan, and the Turkey and the Qatar were facilitating these negotiations. And all these incidents, terrorist incidents, have happened at a time when the President Tayyip Erdogan was going to send his defense and foreign ministers along with the head of the intelligence. So this is an indicator, and this is not the first time. We have observed in the past there was similar situation that whenever there was talks between Pakistan with the militant groups through Afghanistan, and sometimes also directly with the militant groups in the past, I think similar efforts were inside Pakistan, that those talks were derailed with a major terrorist attack. So I think that is more important, because it looks like that someone in this region wants a war between Pakistan and Afghanistan. Someone in this region wants a regime change operation inside Afghanistan. What Afghan government is doing with their people, we know it is a gender apartheid in Afghanistan. We know that Afghan government is providing shelter to some of the terrorist group. But that does not mean that there should be a war between two brother Muslim countries. And I think this is a deep concern of the Turkish government. And that is why we have seen that there was almost a kind of a desperation on the part of the Turkey that somehow or the other, these two Muslim countries should not be allowed to go for a war. Because now in Pakistan's, if you look at the Pakistan's media screen, more particularly Pakistan's defense minister, they're all indicating that they are going to carry out attacks inside Afghanistan. Now, Afghanistan, we know its history. They don't have an air force, but they do have expertise in the insurgency, in carrying out suicide bombings. Afghans are partially part of Pakistan society. There is a 27-kilometer long stretch of the border between two countries. On both sides of the border, the same ethnic group. On the both sides of the border, both countries having the same religious sect. So again, this is happening at a time when there's also a peace jirga. Jirga means is a gathering of the tribal elders in Pakistan's bordering province, Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. And the provincial government is organizing it. And the provincial government of the jail leader Imran Khan is in an open kind of a confrontation with the powerful military, which has been calling shots in Pakistan. And they want to conduct more mega military operations inside Pakistan's bordering region. And that is, there is no appetite for the more military operations because people are simply fed up. And there has been collateral damages there. Tens of thousands of people died in the past. So I think in that broader context, it looks like that the Pakistan, there are efforts in this region that do go for some kind of regime change operation. Reason being, I'm saying it, that if Pakistan carry out attacks inside Afghanistan, if it is a proportionate, which means if genuinely some terrorist hideouts are hit hard, that is a good enough because Pakistan has to respond back. But for that to happen, Pakistan need to have a very genuine intelligence. My understanding is that Pakistan would share those intelligence and some kind of the documentary if they have with the Turkish government, with the Qatar, and letting them know that the situation is reaching to the tipping point. But again, the bigger picture is that will go Pakistan for a disproportionate attack, and will Pakistan have a genuine evidence to do that? But if Pakistan goes beyond that, and if there is a kind of a, again, going beyond and destroying Afghan government's military infrastructure, now I think that will be recipe for disaster for the entire region. Reason being is that in Pakistan, generally people don't have support for a war with Afghanistan, that being a Muslim country. But there is a support for a war against India if India attacks on Pakistan, because my understanding is that India would not attack on Pakistan this time around. Reason being is that the last time Pakistan military had beaten them in black and blue, Pakistan really gave them a bloody nose. So they are not going to retaliate. But I think there is a kind of a situation, anything can happen.
Well, yes, anything can happen is the proper way of actually concluding this situation. But do you expect anyone to take responsibility anytime soon? Or do you expect that this one particular stuff to become something that is unsolved and just remains as it is? Do you think that the responsibility, or not responsibility, but someone is going to prove the other party has done it?
Well, the TTP is a Tehrik-e-Taliban Pakistan, a militant group which has so many factions, maybe over a dozen. Some of the factions are inside Afghanistan, and the Afghan government is neither expelling them nor it is ready to take any action against them, nor it is ready to create conditions where it does not instruct any terrorist attack in Pakistan. That organization has said that it is not behind this terrorist attack. But there's another group, Jamaat-ul-Ahrar. This is again a faction of TTP, and they are claiming responsibility. They have some problem with Pakistan's judicial system. This is a complete nonsense. This Jamaat-ul-Ahrar is a very dubious group because in the past they've been making a lot of claims. They also made a claim that they were responsible for a terrorist attack and killing 150 children in a school some 10 years ago. And then some of its leaders were pardoned by the government. And then when the High Court asked not to pardon them to the government, then under very suspicious circumstances, some of these leaders were set free. And then whenever there has been election, except for the last election, this group has been very active. It has been targeting political parties, basically raising the slogan of Islam that they are not serving Islamic cause, they are the traitors. This is a complete nonsense. These terrorist groups are not pursuing any Islamic agenda. My understanding is that all these terrorist groups, they are somehow the others are playing into the hands of the intelligence networks in this region, Which country has been running them? It's anybody's question. But generally, people in Pakistan's bordering province, they are not willing to accept that these terrorist organizations are pursuing an Islamic agenda. These are the criminal gangs. And they are being used by the intelligence network across the region. Indian intelligence agencies are also active in the past, and they are still active, more particularly in southwestern Balochistan province. But that is not the only actor in this region. So again, there is a bigger picture, and bigger picture is, and that is going to be unfolded in days to come, that if there is a bigger operation by Pakistan inside Afghanistan, and if there is any effort for a regime change operation, and I think that will be the real reason behind the surge of terrorism in Pakistan.
Well, this is the situation that is unfolding at the moment. Thank you so much, Javed, for joining us and sparing your time.
The growing tide of anti-Israel sentiments.
What you see behind me is just tip of the iceberg of what is happening in the country. More than half of $52 billion black CIA budget is spent on espionage network in Pakistan. How would you handle it?
The US has looked upon Pakistan as an ally at one point and then as an enemy at the same time.
That is going to be the first legal reason on the basis of which he is going to be instantly ousted by the Supreme Court of Pakistan.
Joining us live, Javed Rana, who's an expert on politics and geostrategic issues.
In the world politics, which is not being driven by any moral principle, it is being driven by the hard geostrategic realities. In a broader picture, more countries would aspire to have nuclear weapons.